Alright, welcome back, and it will be time to take a look at Shorekeeper and Camellya. Now these two are my favorites, two of my favorite characters in the game, and I have to thank Shorekeeper for bringing me back to the game. If you don't know, she's basically the reason why I'm still playing the game right now. I did quit from 1.1 to 1.3 and then I decided to check out the game in 1.3, and Shorekeeper was one of the first units I got soon after, and I'm glad to be here now. Camellya, on the other hand, is one of players' favorites, I think, of all time at the moment. One of the most pulled characters, I believe. And honestly, I see why both of the characters are really good, and overall, ever since 1.3, the game has been on a very nice and steady incline towards being better and better. So, let me show you the stats. Now, Camellya, as we all know, she's a little bit crazy, and yeah, she is a little bit crazy. I don't complain though, and she is one of my best built units at the moment. Probably the best unit I have at the moment. Then here we can take a look at the echoes and at their stats. I know my echo stats are terrible, but it is what it is. The echo RNG hasn't been nice to me at all. Here you can take a look at the skills. Everything is pretty much maxed out and fully leveled. Everything on level 10. She is on the base rank. I haven't ranked her up. I don't think I have any of the 5-star units ranked up. Maybe one or two actually, but most of them are on the base rank. And here you can take a look at weapon. One of my very few golden weapons. Now, Shorekeeper, as mentioned before, she is primarily a support character, a healer, although lore-wise I believe she can be very scary when it comes to how much damage she can do. So maybe in the future we will see a DPS Shorekeeper, and model-wise, one of my favorite designs in the game. She's just very nice to look at, very pretty, no complaints from me, very pretty, very expressive. One of the things I love about this game is how expressive the characters are. They feel alive. There's a lot of love put into the design of the characters. The weapon is a purple weapon. Also, the level of the weapon is maxed out. Here you can take a look at the echoes. Now, I need to change these echoes. I need to have a healing setup and maybe a DPS setup. This is what I already had for a while. Haven't really changed these echoes in a very long time. Yeah, I would say the stats are definitely not good, but it is what it is for now. I need to change them. When it comes to the level, I'm still working on leveling up a couple of these skills. Now you might be wondering, why aren't these skills leveled up if I had the character for so long? Well, because of how many things there are to level up, I kind of forgotten to max her out. There's just so many things to level up in the game, and I kind of forgot about that. I thought it was maxed out, turns out it's not. Also, not ranked up. As I mentioned before, I have very few 5-star units ranked up. Now, that's just the default overview for the two characters, just to show you what I have equipped on them, and just to take a close look at all of the animations that we see in the resonator screen. Now, speaking of animations, these are the convent animations for Camellya. And I also love how with every update, the new characters have a better and better convent animation. Yeah, this girl is a red flag, quite literally, alright? She is not all there, she is a little bit crazy. And I think a lot of you guys love that, me included. It makes it even better. And at the same time, Shorekeeper's animation is honestly the polar opposite. She's definitely more of the calm type, as we see here. Also very beautiful animation there. And the blue butterfly, there's a achievement in the City that you can find that references Shorekeeper. I find that a very nice touch. I think I got it, but I didn't even notice it. I just had to basically. I read that a couple days ago, and I was pleasantly surprised. No, the overall character models, they're both from the Black Shores, so the overall design principle will be about the same. This is Camellya with the red hair. You can actually get her to walk around with this appearance by using her, I think it was the fourth skill, and then if you don't evade or dodge, if you teleport, you basically can walk around like this, but you can't sprint, you can just basically walk around. Overall, a highly detailed character model, definitely looks very sharp and very good. I'm playing the game on a custom configuration file with boosted overall graphics, and overall the resolution is the most notable improvement. Everything looks super sharp, super crisp and clear. I'll make sure to upload this in 4K to take advantage of the native 4K resolution. Upscaling is off, the AI interpolation is off, all that stuff is off. Native resolution is where it's at if you want the best possible visual quality. Shorekeeper, I also love how Camellya is pretty much red, Shorekeeper is blue. I figured that would be a very nice video to make because they're so different though. So different, and I honestly do like both of the characters. If you were to compare their height, they're actually very similar, although I think Camellya has high heels, that kind of helps with height a little bit. Shorekeeper is tall by default, and she is technically a construct. If we were to use the Grey Raven terminology, she is a machine. Rover built her in the lore. I also love the aspect. Rover has a very good taste. Not gonna lie. I kind of wish that she had more outfits, more skins. I would love to have the hood off, for example, because her face is so nice, so pretty, and overall the hair is done really well. I feel like the hood is kind of in the way, but maybe we get a skin for her in the future. I mean, summer events bound to give us some swimsuits, I think. But yeah, both characters have unique animations, and overall they are very well done in their own respective ways. So no complaints from me about that. So that would be the overall. Oh, whoops! A wrong click on the controller. I'm playing on a controller. On PC I prefer mouse and keyboard, on mobile I prefer a controller. Just feels more natural to play this game on a controller, on mobile at least. So let's start with the boss battles. Let's start with the gameplay part. Now, as I mentioned before, a very distinct difference is present in both characters. Camellya is a little bit insane, and she is obviously a DPS character. Shorekeeper, on the other hand, in lore, can be powerful, and I think there could be some buffs done to her, maybe a different version of Shorekeeper as DPS, but this version of Shorekeeper is a healer support. You can technically get her as a DPS. My current echoes are definitely not that good for DPS. I mean, my current echoes on the character are not particularly good at anything at the moment. My echoes on Camellya are definitely better, and overall Camellya will do a lot more damage. However, Shorekeeper became part of quite literally all of my teams because a healer is always important. She can also boost the overall damage output of other characters, so does give boosts, does give heals, and it is tanky. She can be tanky, although in this game I wouldn't rely on taking hits, especially in some of the later stages, because this game definitely not forgiving when you're fighting bosses. They still can knock you out in one hit, so you have to be very careful. And I found out that playing the game with the HUD off is actually a little bit more enjoyable for me, because I have no distractions and I'm able to fully focus on the boss battle. I actually noticed this in one of the last videos I made when I compared Phoebe with Carlotta. That's when I started to do these types of videos with HUD off, and ever since I think I might just prefer to do boss battles with the UI disabled, because I feel like I'm playing much better now when the UI is off. And of course we're primarily looking at the overall gameplay differences, at the visual effects and stuff like that, because as I mentioned before, I don't really think that there is a better character or a worse character. I feel like all of these characters are good in their own way. I prefer Waifu over Meta, as I mentioned before. And in this game even 4 stars are delivering phenomenal performance. Something that we can't say about a certain other game with the letter G, with the starting letter G in the name. That game is definitely sinking like a submarine, or the Titanic, to be more accurate. A Titanic is more actually accurate, because a submarine can actually go up. The Titanic ain't going up, that stays at the bottom of the sea. Anyway, let's go to the next boss, and we have Wukong over here. I need to play that game one day, although I don't really like the blurriness that the game has. The good thing is, on this game, if you don't like the blurriness, you can just easily tweak that out and do what I did, and basically get a crystal clear, sharp image. This should look really good, I think. The image quality should be crystal clear. As I mentioned before, I take great care when assembling these videos, because let me tell you, the game is very nice to look at. It's very pretty, and I would be giving it a disservice if I didn't change the resolution, and if I didn't record and upload in a acceptable 4K quality, because let me tell you, just looking at the game is just eye candy. And I'm happy that it's so easy to modify the overall visuals. I also love how I was a little bit distracted by the reflections. You can actually see the bosses in the water reflections really well. Their moves and everything is so well reflected. It's actually impressive. These are screen space reflections. Unfortunately, on mobile, ray tracing does not work, at least not until they decide to change the API to Vulkan, and if they do, I think they will attempt to get ray tracing on mobile. They will have to go with Vulkan if they want to do that. Now, let me just see, did I forget to turn something off? Anti-aliasing and AA can actually ruin the image quality. I disabled it for this particular fight just to see if there is any difference, because I'm already playing the game in a really high resolution. So anti-aliasing and FSR, I think FSR is not going to be needed, because I already surpassed the native resolution of this display, so there will be no need for upscaling because it's already running in native. So I think the FSR didn't work to begin with, because that should be disabled through the configuration file. As for the AA, well, the resolution is so high that there should be no aliasing visible anywhere, so the AA kind of not really necessary, and let's just finish the battle here in that way. Maybe there is some aliasing visible, but I really don't like to use AA in other games, especially if it's temporal anti-aliasing. Temporal anti-aliasing just makes everything look bad and blurry. Temporal anti-aliasing is kind of ruining the overall image quality of this game and some other games. The good thing is that I did counter that in the configuration file that I added. Later I think I might do some more stuff with it, but we will see. But overall, Shorekeeper's gameplay is super responsive, very agile. She is a ranged character, medium short range, and overall I would say she's delivering really well so far, no complaints for me. Okay, not only if the ultimate, no, her ultimate is not a DPS ultimate. It buffs, it heals. It's not like the ultimate on Phoebe or the ultimate on Camellya or some other characters. After all, her primary role is support, so you can't really expect her to do a lot of damage. You can though, don't get me wrong, you can get her to do some good damage, obviously. It's just, as a support character, her overall primary role will be a little bit different. Well, I was Inferno Rider. Let's go to the next boss. Let's go to the Nightmare Moth. It reminds me of the Nightmare Ball from Grey Raven. That boss was old school boss. I love that boss. It's difficult. That boss was wild. I can defeat that boss with my eyes closed now, but back in the day, that was a challenge, and I missed those days. It was so fun. I still play Grey Raven. I still do. Okay, well, definitely looking forward for more bosses in this game. They're fun. The bosses actually try to get you. That's the main difference between this game and the bosses in a certain other game that shall not be mentioned. I did watch some comparisons between bosses, and honestly I was shocked at how bad the bosses are in that other game. Like, not only is it like boring, it's not well designed. The bosses in this game are legitimately good. Like, it's actually fun and challenging to fight them. After all, that's the purpose of a game, to have fun. And you might be wondering, you might be asking, well, you just noticed that now, right? No, not really. I noticed that back before this game wasn't even existing. Back when Grey Raven was the only game that we can compare that was actually having some decent bosses. But yeah, the game with the letter G in the name, well, with the first letter G in the name, is a huge disappointment now, especially with this game being released and with new games coming out. That game is in trouble. That's all I'm gonna say. Maybe we will see that game fail in the next year or two, because at this rate it's not looking good for the other game. Well, I mean, we have Wuthering Waves, the legitimately more fun and entertaining game with a better developer team, so I'm not going to complain. As players have mentioned before, gaming is healing, and Wuthering Waves might actually be one of those games that helps with that. So I'm all in for that. And well, let's go with the next boss. Now, once I finish with Shorekeeper here, I will jump right on Camellya. And yeah, that sounded wrong. It wasn't my intention to make it sound wrong, but Camellya is, gameplay-wise, one of my favorites. As I mentioned before, Shorekeeper and Camellya are my default favorite characters, but gameplay-wise, I think Camellya takes the cake, at least from my perspective. I'm very fast-paced, very responsive, very flashy, and overall, she does just so much damage. She just knocks everything out, and is definitely obvious why so many players did get her. I'm also wondering if the next character will surpass. I think Zani has the chance surpass Camellya when it comes to popularity. I really feel like that's going to be the case, or the next character might actually do it. But I feel like Kazani is going to be the character that will be the next player's total favorite. But we will see, of course. I'll try to get her as well. Okay, so that was the Shorekeeper gameplay. Now let me go and whip out Camellya. I did play her a little bit though throughout the Shorekeeper run, but let's go and use Camellya as the primary. Well, she is after all my primary DPS in most cases. Now one thing that I have to mention, Camellya is doing havoc damage while Shorekeeper is Spectre. Also a difference between the characters. So I feel very bad for the bosses now. The bosses are in some trouble now, that's for sure. No, she just does, yeah, a lot of AoE damage. Overall, very fast, very aggressive gameplay. Let's say very aggressive. She is out to kill, okay? She is out to get these bosses the same way the bosses are out to get her. I mean, and we all know that, you know, she's a little bit insane. That also adds to the overall aggro, I guess. And that's the first boss destroyed. That was fast. Let's go to the next one. Clearly a difference between a support and DPS will be in the overall damage output, but that's fine. And let's just go and fight the second boss. I am distracted by the reflections. The reflections are just so good. And the reflection distractions are going to get me. Almost got caught there. Or not. Okay. Also one thing, when you have the UI off, you don't really see your health. You don't really see that stuff. So it is definitely a bit more blood pumping, that's for sure. Okay. Let's collect the rewards. I mean, let's collect the echo. Let's go to the next one. I should start with the Hecate boss as well, but this will do for now. Inferno Rider. Okay, let me not mess up this one. With the controller is just so much. I feel like with the controller is much easier to play than using touch controls. I don't know, since when I started to struggle with touch controls. I think in my case, my device is a bit smaller, not a huge display. My old device had a huge display. I think display size plays a role. The larger the display, the easier it is to play, I guess. But I kind of like the smaller devices. I like my phones compact, you know, compact, small and powerful. That's what I like. And this device that I have packs plenty of power for sure. But I have to use the controller because the touch controls are, for me at least, not that good anymore. And after all, with the controller I can have my fingers off the screen so I see what's happening to the fullest here. Okay, let's go and delete the next boss. There we go. I feel like it's much easier to evade and dodge when you don't have the UI as distractions. At least that's what I noticed. And her ultimate also does AoE damage, her forward skill does AoE damage. She just does a lot of AoE damage. Overall, if you're thinking about getting a DPS character and if you don't know which one to get, I can recommend Camellya. because she slaps. She just, yeah, very scary, very good performance. And let's go to the next boss here. Well, definitely a much faster clear time. It's just a huge difference at the moment. I will attempt to get the 5-star Shorekeeper weapon, or at least to get the one that you can basically choose from the normal weapon banner or weapon box. But again, I'm free to play. I live the free to play life, and I can't really afford to spend on weapons, because if I do, I'll miss some characters. And I definitely do not want to miss the next 3, or actually the next, not the next, I'm skipping Brand. Yeah, after Brand there's 3 that I want to get. They are my goal. But with that being said, that would be it for today. I don't know which characters I'll compare next. We will see about that. There's a lot of 4 stars and a lot of other characters that I want to take a look at. But with that being said, tell me, which one do you prefer? Do you like Shorekeeper more, or do you like Camellya more? I'm very interested to see that. And well, with that being said, stay safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.